Hello, Richard.
Hey, good morning, Colin Dunlap.
I think sometimes people who cover sports get caught up in the minutia of the games. Like, should they have run this here? What happened on this pass play? And they don't talk enough about like big topic issues, right? And ones that also are relatable. That to me is one of the problems with journalism, right? Like we get caught up in a 3rd and 18 play and spend 2 weeks talking about it. But
Oh, you're going to have to be more specific. You're talking
I'm
about
about to be.
you're talking about these glittering generalities. Come on.
I'm about to be more specific. So after the game, it was about an hour, two after, I guess. So that means they were on the ride home. Broderick Jones decided to, did you see this?
No, I haven't.
Uh, Respond to his detractors on social media, which is a topic that is not just an indigenous sports topic, right? It's one that you can look at as anybody. It's social media topic. It's how you deal with people that are negative toward you, whatever. And he pretty much gave him that whole song and dance. And I'm paraphrasing here. You can't do what I do. I'm a professional. Shut up. Which leads me to this point. Is this social media stuff for athletes really all worth it? And I keep going back to it's positive. Like take Schultz Ford for example. When you
Yeah.
want to get when you want to get a message out,
Yep.
it's such a great way to reach a mass of people. But when people want to be jerks, it's such an easy way for people to reach anyone. I I look at this and say, if I was an athlete, would I be on like Sidney Crosby doesn't have any social media, and he's able to get by in the world. It
Well,
it
okay, I get it. I get it. Go ahead.
Or do you think it's just I'm making too much of it and it's just a method of self-control that people need to have? The athlete.
I think you're making too much of it. Because what you're talking about is rewinding, but the whole society, because that's who we are now. And I don't know how you put that genie back in the bottle. Right. So basically that we have to live with it, adapt to it. And I didn't see the comment. I First of all, I think it's silly that he even responded
Uh-huh.
to it, because it dignifies, anything else. And so I think the self-control part, we just have to learn. But that's individual. You don't see that happening. I don't know. Did George Pickens do anything silly? Because you would think he might. But no, I think it's just the world we live in. And I think it's a good part.
Yeah, it is the world we live in. And like I see this with politics, I see it with sports, I see it with anything. It's the world we live in, and we do have to just resign ourselves to the fact that it is. But it has become a sad reality that people are so quick to say such awful things about others. Like, okay, Broderick
That's
Jones
just
should be criticized because he didn't do his job well. But people are so quick to say incredibly personal things about others.
Yeah,
It's
I agree with
wild to
that.
me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he even deserves to be criticized, but there's certainly a reason that somebody would say, "Hey, what the hell?" Three penalties in a row. I mean, come on. Um, but I mean, when you're in the public eye, I mean, you leave yourself open for that.
Well, you bring me another point though. Do you know anytime I have a conversation about sports in my increasing, I'm not turned off to it, but a lot of aspects I'm not as into it as I once was. Sports fans have turned me off to sports more than the sports itself. That's the truth of it. Like
I
the
don't even know how to
evolution of
respond to that.
the evolution of the sport hasn't turned like rules in the sport or how athletes act or anything. That's not been a deterrent for my like pulling back on my enjoyment of sports. The way sports fans feel like they're a part of all of this in the game.
Entitled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And I don't disagree with it, but it doesn't dampen my enthusiasm. I mean, I still can't wait till 1 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. Um, so, yeah, I mean, it doesn't. The one thing about, and I'll just kind of pivot this a little bit.
Sure.
Um, and the only thing that really is concerning to me is the number of injuries. And I look at that and I'm wondering how you really plan for that. Is it conditioning? Is it like what's happening here? I mean, you have three offensive players, starters, offensive linemen that are out for the year. And when you go down the line of 32 NFL teams, there's significant injuries that are changing the dynamic of who's winning and losing.
Yeah, I don't think you can plan for it. I don't think it's conditioning. I think some of it's luck of the draw. I think another part is this. Guys have gotten so big and strong
Yes, they have.
muscularly
They have.
that I don't
Yeah.
think their tendons and things like that from an anatomical sense can hold the muscles that are that are attached to their bone and the other structures. It's
Yeah.
just and they move so nimbly. Like, okay, growing up when we would see a 312-pound guy, he'd be a big fat guy.
Yeah. We'd love to see that guy. We'd run right at him.
Right. Now you can't tell that guys are 300 pounds because they have
Everybody's
muscle.
three. Yeah, and everybody's 300 pounds.
And I think that the way, if you take a chart, a graph, the way that the 300-pound athlete has just gone like this, and it's like in baseball, everybody throws 100 miles an hour, and it's kind of the same thing in football that there's so many 300-pound athletes and they move so well. And it's just from an anatomy sense, I wonder if our body was meant to be built like this.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's actually a great point, but I'm going to pivot again. Come right back
Yep.
over here. I'm going to go to baseball. Would you have let the guy go 4 days before he was eligible for a $200,000 bonus?
Probably not, but I don't know all the circumstances. Here's the thing. They could have given him that money out the door and saved it on the books. But I don't know. Here's the part though that's very true. It looks awful if you are a free agent potentially signing here and looking at the Pirates and saying, "Oh, okay,
Yep, it's a
what's the deal
deterrent.
here?"
It's a deterrent. Yep,
Like, take you're a business owner,
yep,
right? If
yep.
somebody says, "Hey, maybe I'll go work there or work here," look what they just did to the last dude that worked there.
Yeah, that's a
Then,
culture. That's a culture people want to be part of or don't want to be part of, and I think it does. It just reinforces all the negative things you hear about our ownership. And what's the $200,000 investment for a guy like that? Nothing, right? Nothing. So do the right thing. Build a culture here of a true family. When we used to do Sister Sledge and We Are Family, make it that way because that's internal, intrinsic, and if you can grow intrinsically and push that culture outward, I think that's when you start to win. And winning can't be. I don't think winning can be the goal. I don't think it can. I think it can be the result. But I
right?
don't. I think that if we continue to focus just on wins and losses, we're never going to get there. And honest to goodness, I'd love to coach the Pirates. I would love to have just a month. I really would. Yeah, I know I'm crazy, but
No, 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 no. You have me intrigued here.
yeah, no, I mean, you have to build it from the inside out, and that's what's missing. And I think, and I do think the Pirates have the ability to do that, but I think you need a change, and the change isn't because of talent. It's just the culture has to be built.
Well, you said something interesting, and this is why it gets me here. You say wins and losses can't be the goal right now. But for a lot of people, I think I'll just speak for me. At some point, wins and losses have to be the ultimate goal.
After a period, yes, but you have to build it. Kevin Costner said, if you build it, they will come. You
Right.
have to build it. You have to build it. And once you build that culture, it will attract fans. It will attract better ball players, the better coaches. You have to have that culture and be known for it. You have to live it, breathe it, eat it, sleep it. You must have it. And if you don't, if you're only out there saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to cut this guy. I'm going to save $200,000. I don't think there's a lot of people out there that would say, "Hey, that was a great baseball move." It wasn't a great baseball move.
No, and here's the toxicity part to it, Richard, is fans then conflate issues. And
Yep.
this is what I mean by this. They can be mad at the owner and
Yeah,
essentially take it out on the team and not go to games or not root for the players.
100%.
And that's problematic because
That's
those
right.
guys who are the boots on the ground, those guys who are the players, they got nothing to do with decisions in the boardroom, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I think everything you're saying is accurate. And I don't know. That's why I said I'd love to run the team for a month. Because that's how you have to start. And you put one foot in front of the other and you go forward and you put the past. The past is the rear view mirror. The future's right up front the windshield. That's what you do. And I don't think until somebody actually gets it, it's not going to fix.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's an ownership problem. There's no two ways about it. I said this all the time about the Pirates owner.
Yeah, but when people say that though, when people say that, and I hear it all the time, it's an
Uh-huh.
ownership problem, and I get that,
Right.
but you have to identify what the problem is with
I'm
ownership.
going to tell you exactly what it is.
Most people say we won't spend the money. It's not the money.
Well, it is to some degree. Here's why.
Ugh,
Let me explain.
go ahead.
If I inherited Giant Eagle Supermarkets tomorrow and somebody said, "Who do you want to be your CEO?" I'd hire Bob Nutting tomorrow. You know why?
Well,
Because he looks at it as a product to turn a profit each year, to make money, to have the books turn out the right way on December 31st. That's how he runs the baseball team. Okay. And with any other business in America, not a professional sports franchise, he's doing an incredible job. He's turning a profit every year. Whenever you own a professional sports franchise, the people who have been successful, most of the time, if not all the time, it's their secondary thing that they got going on. And essentially, they can take a loss to have big success. And that's
okay.
the model that works. Mark
Well,
Cuban is a great example. He had a gabillion dollars to begin with. He didn't need the Dallas Mavericks to make money in order for him to succeed. So he could treat it like his fantasy basketball team. And that's what he did.
he's not part of it. He's sold most of his interest,
But he made a bunch of money.
but here's the thing. I have never seen a financial statement on the Pittsburgh Pirates ownership. Do they make a profit? I mean, people say that. I read it, but do they?
The
Is that
Pirates?
really? Yeah. Do
Oh
they?
yeah, they make
How,
it. They make
have you
profit
seen
from
that?
yeah, because Major League Baseball's revenue sharing situation. They make a ton of money, and their television contracts in baseball are gigantic. They don't need to get a lot of fans to make money in baseball. That's how the model's built because of the television contract.
Well, I would like to see that. I would really like to see the numbers, the hard numbers. I just think that if you want to win, you have to change the culture, and money isn't the first thing. Money would be after you change the culture, and then you have to attract. That would attract better people, in my mind. But what do I know? I sell cars.
Well, yeah, but you also create a great culture.
I hope, and it's evolutionary. I hope so. We try to stay relevant, and we try to keep up with it. Um, but I don't think anybody would ever question where um, and what our secret sauce is. It's not secret. It's
It's
taking care of
people.
people. It's people.
If
It's always
somebody was okay, case in point, if it was December 12th and somebody had grand success or even decent success, and they had to sell two more cars before the end of the year, and they were due a bonus, you wouldn't show them the door and say they're getting too close to the bonus, even though they've been successful and they've behaved well and everything else. I'm gonna let them go so they don't cost me more money because they're
no.
bringing in revenue.
Yeah, no. I mean that
It's
because
just
it's the commitment that they've put in to get to that point.
right.
Okay, and they're committed, and we would help them achieve that bonus. Um,
I'm
so yeah, I mean, it's something I've wanted to comment on.
it it's an illogical, like I've tried to look at it from every way through the prism, and there's no way in which it makes sense, Richard.
No, it
No,
doesn't. It doesn't. Okay, so that's that. All right, put
that
that away.
man, that one bothered you, and it should have.
Yeah, it did. Okay, so let's put that away. What was I going to tell you?
The Cowboys,
Cowboys. Yeehaw,
no,
Cowboys.
Well, here's you know why the Cowboys are interesting coming to town, and I'm going to tell you why. There's a generation a little bit older than me that for the Steeler fan growing up, the
Yeah.
Cowboys are still that team they really dislike
Yeah, they are, and it's they're two top brands in the NFL, really.
in the world.
Yeah, yeah, and so we clash. I don't know or remember when we've actually hosted the Cowboys before, have we?
Yeah, it was a couple years ago because the Cowboys actually, and it was a day, it was like a 4 o'clock game, and they stormed back on them. The Cowboys did. I remember the Cowboys had an inordinate amount of fans here and
Yeah.
surprised the heck out of people how many fans they had.
Well, so here's the thing about the Cowboys for me. I think Dak Prescott's the most overpaid quarterback in the league. I
You've
don't think
said
he's.
that before.
I
You've
don't think
not
he's.
liked him at all.
I don't see it. I mean, the wins and losses. I mean, would you pay Dan Marino, make him the top paid quarterback in the league if he were playing today? I mean, I don't think so. And I love Dan, but what did he win? Right? And so when you get to that level and you're that top tier, Dak Prescott isn't there. Um, but here's the other part of it. He also scares me to death because he can be great, right? He just
He,
isn't he just isn't great all the time.
you're right about that. But the Steelers are 3-1, and they've got one home game. I think they've positioned themselves pretty well, but the injuries are just something that's such a crazy wild card right now.
Yeah.
And if you can't block anybody, you're in big trouble.
I go back to the Russ Grimm days,
Mm-hmm.
and Russ was a friend of mine, and I'd say, Russ, what do you teach? What's your technique? And he's like, I really don't care what they do. You see that guy over there? That's your quarterback. See those guys over there? That's your defensive lineman. You don't let those guys get to that guy. I don't
Yeah.
care how you do it. He said, and one day, he said they had a thing prearranged, and all the linemen stood up and they did like little circle dances around it on a play just and then let them in. And that it was funny. I think you had to be there. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't matter what it takes, what you have to do. It doesn't matter what your technique is. Don't get a penalty and don't let them in.
I was in a loss, pleasantly surprised by Justin Fields. I continue to be. And I thought about this morning, actually. I was up very early, as I am every morning. Justin Fields plays until both things happen, not one of them, until he plays bad in a loss. Like they have to lose and he has to not play well in that game. If
Okay, so boy, I mean, this is talk of the town, obviously.
mm-hmm.
And Tomlin came out basically yesterday at his press conference and said, um, it's his job basically. And they asked him hypothetically if he would make the change, and basically said it's his job to lose, right? And that's really the only thing you could say right now because it would be foolish to change that dynamic. However, you have a very, very talented quarterback sitting on the bench, and you're right if you lose. But then I go back to this. That's also the time you make a commitment to the guy and don't take him out.
Unless he plays terrible in that game.
Again, you make a commitment to the guy and you don't take him out. You let him play through it because there's going to be times that happens. How many times did you look at Ben Roethlisberger and go, geez, Ben, right? But they didn't sit him, right?
Well, they didn't have a potential Hall of Fame guy behind him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're going to commit to the kid, commit. But
Well,
but I love Russell, of course, and I want Russell to play. So I'm kind of caught in the middle of that. What's your take?
circumstances always yield that it works out and both guys end up playing at some point somehow. Either
Yeah. Well,
a
and that was the plan right from the beginning, except it's reversed.
mm-hmm.
Russell was going to be playing, and Justin was going to come in. So it's reversed, but same plan, and it's not a bad plan. So I'm not unhappy with it. I'm more concerned about the small things, the small mistakes that we're making that become big mistakes. Um, the center quarterback exchange concerns me. I don't know why.
It's
Is
been
it?
2 years, and it's the most elementary play in football, and they can't figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know why. And I don't know if it's because our quarterback doesn't understand the offensive lineman or the center making the calls for the offensive line formation. I don't know if it's the center that doesn't understand it. I think it's more than just a physical thing. I think it's a mental thing that's
Yeah,
creating.
I don't know what it is, but I know this. I watch a lot of football on Sundays. Nobody else does it with regularity. Like this doesn't hamper any other team.
You said 2 years doing this? I don't
Maybe
remember.
4 or 5 years actually.
I
It's
don't
it's
remember
been
that.
it's been problematic, the center exchange. Absolutely.
Why don't I
Herbig had
remember that?
problems.
I don't remember
Herbig
that.
had problems with it too. Um, it's it's tough, and I don't know what they're going to do with that. There's that, and then like you said, little things like George Pickett's holding on to the football in a very big situation. That's
So,
problematic.
so it's you solve that real easily. Don't be a showboat. Put the ball in, tuck the ball, protect the ball, not one hand.
Have them great to say. Who's let's get them to listen to that.
Well, yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I have a couple comments about that, but he's one of the most talented. I mean, the guy's got insane ability.
If George Pickens has taught me anything over the time that George Pickens has been a Steeler, it's this: he's going to operate on his own plane, and there's probably not a lot people are going to do about it. I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but that's where
No,
we
I,
are
don't- I
with him.
don't. I don't think you're wrong. But what about the conversation of bringing back Deontay?
No,
Is that real?
no, I don't think it's real, and I wouldn't do
Oh,
it.
it actually can't be real. He's got
No,
to sit out for 2 years.
right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he's got to sit out for 2 years.
Anyway,
Okay, so who do you like?
Dallas.
What's the point spread?
I didn't even look. Actually, I've been out of it, but Dallas will kick a field goal at the end and win the game.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be that close.
You think they're going to blow them out?
They might. They have the ability to because I think we a couple of weaknesses were really exposed. Look, Joey Porter Jr.
He looked bad.
He went to school with my son, so I automatically like him. But yeah, yeah, he had that was a tough day for him.
Worst game he's had. Although here's why I don't think they can get blown out, because Tomlin's teams don't generally get blown out on those primetime games.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about getting blown out, but the game concerns me. I will tell you that. Because, like I said, I'm not a fan of Dak, but Dak scares me because he can just come out and start throwing that ball, and he's got an arm that's it's like a rifle.
He does. He's very good.
He's very
Um,
good. And what happened last week, the first two possessions of Indianapolis's,
mm-hmm.
I mean, they made us just look, they took us to school, man. They just really exposed a lot of things. And I do think that Mike will address those things and I think they'll solve those things. But I mean, Patrick Queen, come on, Patrick, let's go.
Well, the other thing too was the other Herbig was exposed for a guy that's great to have on your team as a change of pace,
Yeah.
but not every single down.
Well, you said that when we were texting,
Right.
right?
I just don't think
During the game.
I don't think he's a guy that is great every single down in the NFL. He's a rotational guy that makes great splash plays and then sits for 5 or 6 snaps, then comes back in. That's when he's at his best.
Yeah.
It's
I
I
don't I
just
don't know that I agree with that. I also don't know if that I disagree with it, but I don't know that I agree with that. I happen to like him. And I think he can play all the downs. I really do. Um, but we do need to address our front. Um, we have some versatility. I think our defense can be great. It is not great. I mean, we start to raise these flags about greatness after 3 games in the season. You have to be able to do it consistently. And once we do that, then I'll concede to greatness. But right now we're not great. We have the ability to be great.
All right, what's your score then? I
I
say
don't know. It's Steelers actually, or the favorites -2.5.
2.5. Well, that's because they're home, so essentially it's a push.
Yeah.
20, 2017 Cowboys walk-off field goal.
The Steelers are going to score more than 17 points. Mike is not playing, right?
Mike.
Micah.
Oh, no.
He's not playing. Okay. So I think the Steelers are going to score more than 17 points. I mean, they showed the propensity to do that. They scored 24 last week, and they left 2 scores on the board. I believe that. They could have scored 2 more times. So I'm going to say the Steelers score 27 points, and Dallas scores whatever we allow them. And I'm not going to pick a winner or a loser. I'm going to take the Steelers scoring 27 points. That's my
Gotcha.
bet.
Perfect. And they've got
That's,
this run of primetime games, so buckle it up.
yeah. So I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm still excited about the Steelers. I do love Justin Fields. I do love Russell Wilson. I think Mike's got himself in a nice spot.
Well, the 84 is hurt now, though. Patterson being hurt is he
But I
ran
think he'll
harder.
play. He'll play.
He ran harder than Najee.
Well, what do you think about the guy calling out Najee, calling him soft?
I don't think you should give the double middle bird to the stadium camera and act like you're a world champion. That's a bad move and a bad look.
Who did
And
that?
Najee before the game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I didn't know where those
What?
comments came from. They came because of that. He responded to a post that was up there of Najee just standing in the tunnel, giving the double middle fingers.
What?
And
No, I didn't know
absolutely,
that.
I'll send you the
Okay.
picture.
No, I didn't know that. Did you guys know that? I didn't know
Yes,
that.
he absolutely did. And he said,
What?
84 runs harder anyway. Shut up.
That doesn't even sound like what I have this image of him. I don't know him,
I,
but that I don't have that image of him like that.
he reposted the picture and said, "What are you talking about? 84
I
runs
do find
harder
that
anyway."
Kara just showed it to me.
Yeah.
What?
It's not fake. It's real. There's video of it and everything. The guy, he always takes one step forward and 2 steps back, it seems like.
That sounds like him on the football field.
Man.
Yeehaw, baby.
Yeehaw.
Let's go Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin, I love you. Keep bringing it.
I'll talk to you.
Okay, goodbye.